What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/AmITheA butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, and consider joining up with the channel by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or the Patreon link in the description for Patreon, and it is very much appreciated. And as you guys may have known, there was some news on my dad yesterday, and I will just cover it towards the end of the video, so I'll include a timestamp for that just in case you want to know as well. And with that being said, thank you for your time, love, support, and let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for stop going out to eat with a friend because she is always broke? I have a friend group trio, John, Ali, and I. We hang out almost every day smoking, hanging out, or eating. Ali confronted John and I saying we hurt her feelings, so I'm posting this to ask if we were really the assholes. Ali is always broke but will take advantage if you offer. Examples are 1. Go to the drive-thru. She is broke, so you offer to get her something. She will say no, but you order, she changes her mind and will order so much food. 2. She will order the most expensive thing on the menu on someone else's dime. I think that's rude, since the only reason one of us is covering her is because we're tired of her dollar menu budget. Like, I'll order $10 fried rice and she will get a $22 Mongolian steak meal on my dime. 3. Ali didn't drive for a long time and lived 25 minutes away, and John and I live in the same neighborhood. She lives near nothing, so we would go pick her up. Never asked for gas money ever. Ali has a car now, and John was in a wreck, so he lost his car. My car was in the shop one day and Ali picked us up. We go to a park a mile from my house. After, she asked John and I to both give her $5 for gas. This starts a brief issue because we've never asked before and explained our point. She wrecked her car now, so we're back to picking her up. 4. Ali smokes weed but doesn't contribute to paying. She says she feels bad and isn't going to smoke, but then asks to hit the blunt. We have expressed that we feel like we are being taken advantage of because we pay for her anytime we do something. Months later, no change was made. We all have jobs, but the difference is Ali has no bills while we do. So John and I just stopped offering. We go out to eat without her and have always just switched off paying on food and activities. We don't care about the not contributing to weed, but with food we just don't offer, or always hit a drive-thru if she is around. We also still don't ask for gas money. This came to a head when Ali asked to go get Chinese and said she had her own money. When the check came, John asked to split the check 2 ways. It was John's turn to pay for my food. Ali got pissed and accused me of cheating on my boyfriend since John paid for my food. So we explain that switch off who pays for meals and activities lately. She gets even madder and says we purposely excluded her from going out. John explained that we were just tired of footing her bill when she orders the most expensive thing on the menu and never offers to pay herself. We also brought up how we discussed it and nothing changed, so we just changed it ourselves. She got even angrier and said that since she is such a leech and burden, she is leaving. We never said those words. Then she texted my boyfriend and said I was cheating because John and I were going on dates. Boyfriend of course knows what I'm up to, so no problem there. But now I'm genuinely curious if we're acting like assholes. I'll accept the judgment and apologize if we are. No, this is one hell of a leech in my opinion. If I was in like Ali's position and people offered to pay for my food, there was 1, I'd have trouble accepting it anyway, and 2, ordering the most expensive thing on the menu. How does someone have the cheek and just can sit there grinning doing that? I just don't understand it. 100% not the arsehole in my opinion. Others may have a different on it, but Leezy says not the arsehole. Ali is a mooch. Ordering the most expensive items on menus when you are broke and someone else is paying is tacky, and she is taking advantage of you. And Reputable Sorcerer says, not the arsehole, what is going on with Ali? Not only is she mooching, but she just accused you of cheating on your boyfriend over something completely innocuous, and she contacted him about it, and clearly knows that her behaviour is at least partly wrong because she referred to herself, albeit ironically, as a leech. I can't believe that even after she had time to cool down, she still insists that you hurt her feelings. I vote you continue going out to dinners with John and leave Ali out of the invite. In fact, you should exclude her from your hangouts altogether. She doesn't sound like a fun person to be around, and she definitely doesn't sound like a good friend. To which OP replied, the cheating comment really pissed me off honestly. John and my boyfriend have been friends since kindergarten, and John actually introduced me to my boyfriend 5 years ago. So that accusation really would have held some weight and would have destroyed a lifelong relationship if my boyfriend had taken her seriously. She could have ruined my relationship, John's and boyfriend's relationship, and John and his girlfriend's relationship, all because we went out to eat with her. You're probably right about needing to continue to exclude her. And Blame says not the arsehole dumped that leech. It seems like she expects you and John to pay without contributing anything at all. And TCD says not the arsehole. I sometimes had friends with more money than me in my late teens, early 20s, and hell, sometimes I took advantage if they insisted they didn't mind buying me food, by getting something small and cheap. I'd also usually insist on buying when I did have money or get them something for birthday/Christmas. Your example of getting fried rice when she would get a $22 steak on your dime is ridiculous. Any benefit of the doubt or skepticism I had that she was the arsehole, not you or John, was gone the second you said you were cheating on your boyfriend by having a friend buy you food but not her. She knows what she's doing and she probably doesn't even feel bad. She just thinks she needs to look like she feels bad to keep you guys feeling bad for her. The intensely negative self-talk when you guys finally tried to put up a boundary just made it worse. She's a manipulating user, not a broke friend who genuinely feels bad and appreciates your generosity. And now I turn this one to you guys. What would you do if you was in an OP situation? Would you just cut this friend out completely? Would you confront them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from Financial Cabinet 56. Am I the arsehole for firing an employee for not complying with my views? Okay, the title sounds horrible and I really don't know how else to put it, so I'll leave it like that, but hear me out. I own a medium-sized company in my country, roughly 180 employees. I keep it vague so the chance of recognition is kept to a minimum. Currently most of our employees are working in home office and we've been having an increase in productivity, which is awesome. Regardless, at the start of 2021, we needed more people to work with us in our IT department. I put in a request of HR to make an opening and post it to the usual channels. It's been 3 months and we still haven't hired anyone. That was very strange since I actually believe our company would be an attractive place for people to work. Regardless, I scheduled a meeting with the head of HR to discuss what was happening and what we could do to improve the situation. He said they had a few applicants but no one filled the requirements. Now, I must explain that this is an entry-level position. It's not something that should have a lot of requirements. To be honest, it shouldn't have had a requirement at all. We already have an IT department established, we just needed more personnel. I asked to take a look at the opening. I'm not someone with a lot of knowledge in IT, but the requirements posted for an entry-level job were out of this world. It actually said we required 3 years of experience. I was horrified and questioned them in the second I saw that. There are a lot of excuses like, it's what the market asks. Well, it didn't end well and I immediately told him to take the offering off. I was already pretty pissed and went on our server to check the records of HR behaviour, especially with the openings they have posted. Most of them, for all areas, have been outrageous. I was barely holding my own anger at the sight of that. I immediately went to talk to HR department head again, and they actually argued with me that they were doing what was best for the company. I never asked them to do that. I asked them to hire good people who were looking to learn. Experience shouldn't be a requirement for an entry-level position or internship. After a lot of arguing, I ended up firing them, all within the terms of their contract, and is being handled by our lawyer. Regardless, this person has been bad-mouthing me and my company through the four corners of the city. Not only that, even to some of my current workers. Arsehole was the least of the names I've been called. Now, I don't think I'm in the wrong, but I might have overreacted in my anger, especially since we're in a very delicate situation and finding a job is very hard currently. So I thought I would ask, for peace of mind at least, am I the arsehole? Edit, I know this text is vague and a lot of questions arose. I tried to answer most of them on comments. I'm sorry for any misunderstanding. I don't think you were very vague. I think it's very simple, this one, in that, an entry-level position shouldn't have many requirements, if any at all. You're taking someone on to train them, to get them to learn, to give them that experience. And I had a bit of a similar experience just recently when I've gone part-time YouTube, as you guys know, and I had to hire someone else for my other job to be my partner to cover the rest of the days. and they wanted like someone at an entry level position, but they also had like requirements of like some real advanced level stuff with Photoshop and Premiere Pro and InDesign and Illustrator, and they wanted all these programs, and not many graduates or interns are going to have all those skills all at once, so they're required to learn. It took ages to get this through to them, but so absolutely not the arsehole to me in this case. But Miss Magpie says, not the arsehole, thank you for standing by what entry level actually means. I remember when I was applying for my first entry-level job, I basically needed 10 years of experience, 8 degrees, and 2 moonwalks to be even considered. And Prairie says, not the arsehole, I hate when companies do this, and there are so many that do. They don't actually want an entry-level employee. What they want is an experienced candidate to work for entry-level pay. It's such a sham. I'm glad you told your HR person to go kick rocks. Kick dirt. Is that the one? Inappropriate Fable says, not the arsehole. You've taken a principled step towards ending the cancer of online job hunting. Too true. Illuminator says, unless there's additional information you're not telling us, not the arsehole. As I read this, I was thinking no arseholes here, as this sounded like it might be a genuine misunderstanding about what you wanted, or HR trying to do their jobs to the best of their abilities. Then I got to this, and quotes, after a lot of arguing I ended up firing them, and then says, I would hope your personnel feel free to speak up and advocate to you what they think might suit the best interests of the company. But you are the boss, and if they've explained their side, they still need to do as you direct, even if it's not what they would prefer, unless doing so present legal or ethical concerns. There's a saying, the boss might not be always right, but the boss is always the boss. And OP does reply to this saying, thank you for replying, I'll actually answer this. When I mentioned arguing was to summarise what transpired in about 2 weeks of conversations. I've tried my best to explain why I was so against this practice. The employee in question kept fighting me on the subject, claiming that not hiring qualified people would be the end of the company. Don't make a mistake, I do have qualified people in the department. We needed more hands available, and I'm of the mind that if we want people to grow, we need to offer opportunities. This is why I was so adamant about it, and eventually is what caused the termination of that employee. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Do you think OP was right being the boss, or do you think the HR department was right? Let me know in the comments below. And it looks like we may be going down the employment route today, because we have acceptable jump with, am I the arsehole for my discriminatory instructions to my elderly employee? Obligatory throwaway notice. I know the title seems absurd, but hear me out. I, 27 female, am the head of a childcare related business. We're relatively small, only about 6 employees, but the ones I'll be mentioning are K, 17 female, and B, 86 female. B, though in excellent shape, is elderly and isn't able to move around as well as she once did. She often plays with the kids and allows them to be physical with her. We employ her as an as-needed worker, meaning she generally comes in later in the day when K is working. A few weeks ago, B was playing with the children and allowed them to get rough with her, pull on our clothes, push her around, etc. Kay tried to intervene, but B assured her it was fine and that she could take care of herself. Well, later that day, one of the children hugged her so hard that she tripped and fell into the wooden playhouse. She ended up being virtually incapacitated on the ground, meaning Kay, the 17-year-old, had to call 911 and help B as best as she could, all while having to wrangle over a dozen young children. B ended up being totally fine and was released from the hospital the next day. However, that event was extremely hard on Kay. She's an extremely capable worker, but seeing someone she cared about hurt, combined with having to call 911 and being virtually alone with the kids, was hard. She asked me privately if I'd be okay with instructing B and the kids to not get too physical with B. Kay has said she's terrified of having another event like that, and I don't blame her. I talked with the kids and parents to make sure they understand that playing with Kay is different than playing with B, and that they needed to be more gentle. However, when discussed this with B, she accused me of being ageist and said she could do everything she used to just fine. Our co-workers are divided. Am I the arsehole? Now, I know many teachers just in my circle of friends, and also my niece is a carer in a nursery, and as far as I'm aware, they don't allow children to be this rough with any adult member of staff anyway. It's just not good practice, not only for themselves, but for their insurance purposes. And because of health and safety and stuff like that, I think you should be just like doubling down and saying no children should be being rough with any of your employees, because this could get you in big trouble. And that's just my opinion though. I'm no expert on this, but standing from the outside, that's what it looks like to me. But Hey Susan 1 says, I'm going to technically say you're the arsehole because she's right. You clearly had good intentions. You're setting a specific standard for her because she's older. I don't think the problem is asking the kids to be more gentle, but the problem was applying it for one specific employee. In reality, the kids shouldn't play so rough with any employee that could cause harm. What if you get a young employee with an invisible disability that the kids can't recognise, or Kay breaks a bone and needs space? The precedent should be set for the kids to be the same level with all staff. And Potato Lover 3000 says, you're the arsehole, the kids roughhousing with any of your employees is a liability. They shouldn't be playing like this with any of your employees. You really should rethink this policy and extend it to all employees, not just B. What you are doing is ageist. You're already responsible for B's medical bills. This is a workers' comp nightmare. A bad fall can kill an elderly person, or even a young person. Had B hit her head hard on that wooden playhouse, you could be looking at a death claim on your insurance. If the kids are roughhousing with all your employees, the employee doesn't have to be held to be hurt. If one of the kids were hurt, then you could be sued. I hope you have good liability insurance with umbrella coverage. Updated names as I confuse the letters. And username 52 says, I question your hiring. The class is a dozen kids with a 17-year-old and an 86-year-old part-timer. Is it even legal to have the class led by a minor? Basically, either B can do the job or she can't. If kids are roughly playing, something can happen and anyone can fall down and get hurt at 17 or 86. But if you spoke to all the kids and parents before you spoke to B, then soft you're the arsehole. That sounds like talking medical information. Now I turn it to you guys. What would you do in this situation? Who do you think is the arsehole? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from Dad Giraffe Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for telling my son to get over being short and to grow up? I have 4 sons ages 17, 14, 12 and 11. My younger 3 take after me in that they are tall for their ages with big feet and hands. My 11-year-old being the shortest at about 5'9". They stick out like sore thumbs among other kids and even adults at times. I myself have always been too tall and now am 6'7". My eldest son seems to take after his mother, who herself is rather petite. My son is around 5'5" to 5'6". I know it's possible he could have a late growth spurt, but it doesn't seem likely. I won't lie, when they were younger we would lightheartedly tease him for being so much smaller. It wasn't malicious, but I see now that it was a mistake and I have apologised. Well, he's become a very insecure young man. He has gone deep into his shell. I noticed it becoming a real problem around when my youngest started to surpass him in height. He becomes very moody if anyone comments on, or heaven forbid, jokes about his height. He started to refuse to take pictures unless everyone was sitting. Then he refused to take pictures at all. Now it's basically impossible to get him to go in public with us. This all came to a head a few days ago. It was my wife's birthday and she wanted to take a picture with all of us as a family, since it's been years since we have done that. I went to talk to my eldest separately, saying we're going to take a family picture and we would be sitting, of course. He completely refused, even after hearing how much it would mean to his mother. I admit I'm tired of this sort of thing from him. I told him that he needs to get over himself, that he's almost a man now, still sulking over something uncontrollable and stupid like height. I said he has to get over it because there's nothing he can do to change it. I wasn't mean about it in my opinion, but I was firm. He finally agreed to take the picture, and the day went on. Later that night my wife came to talk to me. She told me that our son told her that I had angered him by what I said. He said I made him feel worse. Apparently he also said being around me and his brothers makes him feel even more insecure, and I'm way out of line to minimise his feelings. My wife agrees with him that I don't understand what he's going through. Personally I disagree because I was too insecure about my height when I was young, but even if I can't fully relate, I still feel like I was justified in telling him the truth because he does need to get over it. Now my wife is also angry with me. The house is pretty tense, but I feel like I was in the right here. Reddit, am I the arsehole for what I said? This is a pretty simple one for me, and it's going to be a you're the arsehole simply because you admitted that you teased him growing up about his height, and like, of course, he's going to get a complex about these kind of things. And it can happen with anything in life. When someone picks on it enough, you're going to get a complex about it. I remember in my teen years when I had acne, and I had quite bad acne at the time. And I remember people calling me names like pizza face and stuff like that, and how much that stuck in me. And you know, you do get a complex about it, and I had issues with my acne from then on really, and it really got to me. So I can totally understand where your son is coming from. He's in a family full of tall people, and then you guys are picking on him because of it. Of course he's going to feel like this, and then you tell him to just get over it for something that you've caused. Absolutely the arsehole in this. So you need to step back and help your son out to get through this for something that you've done. But Making Random Name says, so let me get this straight. You made fun of your son for a physical trait he has no control over for his entire life, and you're surprised he has a complex about it. Absolutely. You're the arsehole. Your son had the people he loves and trusts the most in the world to tell him for years that his height is something to be ashamed of. It isn't, but that's besides the point right now. Of course he believed what he was told, internalized it, and reacted in a way to minimize the ridicule he receives from his family. Yes, he is about to be an adult, but you've been an adult this entire time. What's your excuse? And Mama O2D4 says, you're the arsehole, and quotes, I won't lie, when we were younger we'd lightheartedly tease him for being so much smaller. Then says, we would, as in including his own father, for being different than you. Your son has a complex about his height because you gave him one. Then quotes again saying, if anyone comments or heaven forbid jokes about his height. And then says, so it is still happening, and quotes one more time saying, because I was too insecure about my height when I was young. And it says, and did your father make fun of you for being different than him too? The only people that need to grow up in this story is you, and whoever else is teasing him about his height. Jesus. Hopefully it wasn't Jesus. But Current Strategy 680 says, you're the arsehole, and quotes, I wasn't mean about it in my opinion, but I was firm. And then says, okay, this is clearly written from your point of view. Which isn't your fault, but I'd bet that this is not how your son would describe the interaction. I understand your frustration. Not being willing to take a picture at 17 seems irrational from the outside, but you need to realize that your son is seriously hurting, and no matter how much you think he needs to get over it, forcing him is the wrong way to go about it. It sounds like your son may be dealing with larger mental health issues, or at least very serious body image issues. The right approach is compassion and probably getting him to see a therapist. I wish all the best for you and your family. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and how would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. And now, I did say at the very start that I was going to give you an update on my dad and the way things have gone. Some of you may have seen it on the community post already, but unfortunately yesterday my dad did pass away. And I let you guys know on the community post and here because you guys have been there with me all this time. You've shown me love, support, your stories about your parents who's been battling cancer. And I feel like you're a part of this story, so to speak, that you're a part of it. And I wanted to let you guys know as well, out of respect for you guys, because you guys have been absolutely amazing all the way through. And I'm not saying this for sympathy or anything like that. I'm simply letting you know because, you know, I appreciate you guys and I just wanted you guys to know as well. It's over now, and it sounds harsh and I sound very blasé, and I don't mean to sound blasé or anything like that about it, but you know, it's been a year-long battle watching my dad get poked, prodded, lose kilos. I mean, absolute loads and loads of weight, and just watching him change to a completely different man, mentally, physically, you know, and he had enough by the end. He told me that himself. He told the nurse that. He's told people around him. By the end, he wasn't eating nothing. He hadn't been eating anything for the last 5 weeks or so. He knew it was the end, and you know, I can respect that. And wherever he is, he's in a better place now. He's not in pain no more. He ain't going through that nasty disease that he went through, and that's all I can ask for, really, isn't it? And I know some people will turn to me now and say, look, Mark, you need to step back and take time to grieve and all that kind of thing. And I feel like I've grieved a long time ago. Yes, I still get upset. I still get sad about it. Of course, that's going to happen. It's just the way it is, right? That's life. But I feel like I grieved a long time ago, and I'm almost happy for my dad now that he's out of that pain. So, and I know this channel isn't all about this, about talking about my problems to you guys and stuff like that. It's not about that at all. But I have appreciated talking to you over this past year or so, and it's a great pressure release for me when I can release a video like that. So I'm not doing this, I'm not being pressured into making these videos, you know. I'm doing it because I want to, and I just wanted you guys to know that as well, to know that I am okay mentally at the minute. I am, you know, of course I get my sad moments, but I'm okay mentally. I'm happy for my dad now that he's moved on, you know. So that's that, and that was the update. And I did see all the comments on the community post yesterday. There was over 800 odd comments, and I was absolutely blown away, and it was getting me through the day. I'd occasionally go on and read through them, and just all your messages and condolences, and it was just amazing. And it was typical that it was Waffle Day that this happened, and I was like, oh god. So I will name it Papa Waffle Day from now on. Anyway, thank you so much for your love, support and time. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. If you want to join the channel, it's absolutely appreciated, but never any pressure to do so by clicking that join button down below for YouTube or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.